Let me share with you what it looks like to come home to a competent, fully grown man instead of a half-raised baby boy. I got home late tonight after a business mixer for my windshield company, and I walked into this beautiful, snuggly home with this gorgeous man detailing a mess that I had left behind in the kitchen. What are you doing? Okay. I'm going to have to put a mic on you in a minute and interview you about this cleaning up at 8:38 p.m. First, I'm going to go take a bath. This is all new in my life. I spent the first 24 years of adulthood in a very traditional Mormon marriage where we had wife jobs and husband jobs. And in that 24 years, I never came home to that man organizing my mail or sorting through my desk so that I'd be ready to work the next day or folding my laundry or doing anything. I usually came home to him sitting on the couch with his feet up watching ESPN. I expected Kevin to come down the hall and put on his pajamas while I took a bath, but he didn't. He got done with my bath and came out of the kitchen to find this. Anyway, we're going to put a mic on this guy to see what makes him tick. Okay, I said I was going to mic you up, so here we are. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Kevin, and this is Life Take Two.
You did great. You've never done my Life Take Two before. I love it. Okay, so I came home and you're out in the kitchen just going to town on everything. Cleaned up, made yourself food, and then even went a step further and cleaned the fridge, took out the garbage. Everything was spick and span while I was doing other things. My question for you is, as a man, what made you clean the kitchen and do everything tonight?
To me, a relationship is all about partnership and being with each other. And I guess that just whatever, at that time, whatever needs to be done, the job can be done by whoever is able to do it. And I'm on Christmas break, and I have to admit, you know this, that I'm a little ADD. And so I may start one thing, but then I see something out of place over here and then starts another job. But there's no reason why those things can't be done by myself.
So you're always multitasking. And you did have 6 different projects going on in the kitchen at a time, and then you started a couple more after I came home. But just to clarify here, there's no part of you that thinks this is a husband job, a boyfriend job, a guy job. This is the wife, girlfriend, girl job. That doesn't exist in your head.
No. There's things that each of us is naturally better at. And if I had to choose between you cooking one of your gourmet meals or me making myself an egg sandwich or something of that nature, I probably would always choose your food over my own. But there's nothing that says this is a boy job and a girl job. It's just, what needs to be done and how can we partner together? How can we share to get the most out of those moments? And at that time, to get the most out of that moment was me helping in any way that I could. And that's what you found.
Okay, I absolutely love that. And I'm really regretting that you don't have a brother or a clone, because every woman deserves to have
Two?
somebody, a few of them, somebody, no, not for me, for all the women out there who deserve to have somebody in their life that's an equal partner. Would you say that you know how to do everything around the house without being told and without getting instructions from me?
Yeah, the most part. Don't ask me to, like I said, throw together one of your gourmet meals, but do I know what needs to be done around the house to keep the house clean and tidy and in order? Yeah, absolutely.
I hate the concept of a honeydew list. On Saturday mornings in my first marriage, I would have a list of things and I had to have real specifics. Like, I need the living room cleaned and vacuumed, and I'm going to need help taking this down or doing this thing. And I always felt very much like I was the household manager, and I would give my first husband jobs and responsibilities, but it was very much like I was managing. We don't have that at all. I feel very much like whoever's at home, You know what needs to be done around the house. Garbages need to go out and floors need to be vacuumed and showers need to be scrubbed or laundry needs to be moved from the washer to the dryer. And I don't think that there's ever a time when I tell you what to do. I feel like we're both interchangeable. Would you say that that's accurate?
Yeah, you might be in the middle of a job, and in the same way, ADD like me a little bit, and got
Then you'll
6 different
hop into
projects,
my job.
and I can jump it. I mean, I see the vacuums out, and it's like, oh, I'm not doing anything right now, so I'll finish a vacuum,
Oh my
or
gosh, that's
the
so
middle of
true.
the middle of the laundry, and I'll jump in and start folding laundry, or from washer to dryer, or whatever needs to be done. And it's not Jenny started this project, so Jenny has to finish this project.
Yeah, that is so true. I've never thought about that because if I'm in the middle of cooking, if I'm in the middle of cleaning the bathrooms or doing laundry or doing something with the kids, whatever it is, you will step in. If I've gotten the vacuum out, that's such a great example. You will grab the vacuum. I can see that the rest of the living room's all picked up. So I'm going to vacuum and then you'll get the mop bucket out. You will step in and take over. And I never asked you to do.
Yeah, I say a lot of times, even in the kitchen, I'll come home and maybe you're cooking dinner, but where can I help out? Or vice versa. I'm cleaning up after dinner and I'm going, no, you made dinner, so I can clean up. And you're like, no, let me do this part. And so there's just always this partnership. There's always this willingness to say, hey, where can I fill in a little bit of a gap, or those kind of things.
I love that so much. I have to point out too that Kevin and I were not always like this, and there's a reason for that. We had both been in other marriages for decades before we met one another, and one of the most challenging things that couples in second marriages deal with is old habits come into the new relationship. And some of those can be really positive, but sometimes there are things that you want to rearrange in your life, but you just don't know how. So when Kevin and I first met, I was less than a year out from being a Mormon trad wife, where I did all of the cooking, all of the cleaning, all of the taking care of kids, and just really making life magical, all while wearing a sundress and high heels and having my hair curled and my eyelash extensions on, and everything was perfect. Is that a pretty accurate description of our first little bit together?
Yeah.
So Kevin and I first move in together, and I go into my autopilot, which is just that whole Mormon trad wife thing. And as we blended our families and started going forward in life, I realized I don't want to be a Mormon trad wife anymore. And unfortunately, I think that negatively impacted you in some ways, because we started off in our relationship with me being home most of the time while you had a job away from home, and me doing most of the cooking and the cleaning and those things that are traditionally considered female roles. And then we had this great negotiation where in the middle of our relationship, we had to scrap everything and start over.
Right. But a lot of that is because that's just what you did. That's how you had been raised and trained and whatever. That was your routine. I was raised right. I grew up on a farm and was my dad's right-hand man up to the age of 20 years old or so. And so but the interesting thing in that piece is, at the same time, when my dad didn't need me as his hired hand or to do something on the farm specific, I also was at home helping my mom keep the house, keep the yard, and do those kind of things. And so
you knew how to do everything.
Yeah, I kind of just inherently, you could say farm life is very male and female, but at the same time, I was raised in a ways as the son that, no, I help my dad wherever he needs help. But when I'm not helping my dad, then I'm at home and I'm helping my mom do the things that she's doing. I grew up that way. Skills. And really, in my first marriage, in a similar way, I very much stepped in and helped with house cleaning and helped with decorating and yard work, and just did a lot of these stuff that there was even in my first marriage, there was nothing that I looked at as this is the woman's job and this is the male's job.
So we blend our lives together. And because I come from this traditional background, I felt like a lot of my worth and value was in doing all of those things. So for the first maybe year or two that we were together, I still did all of that. And then I get to this point where I'm super stressed out, and I didn't get divorced so that I could just fall back into the same habits. So in the middle of our relationship, I had to renegotiate some terms and tell you, I'm not going to be the Mormon trad wife anymore. And we've had to have a lot of communication. And I think that's probably always the key to everything. But it's something that's extremely crucial as you are negotiating second relationships, is to always be in touch with each other. Like, how is this working for you? And do we need to restructure some things and do a little bit of rearranging? And bit by bit, we had conversations around I just can't cook dinner 7 nights a week just because I've taken some culinary arts classes. I've cooked for my entire life. I have 50 years of cooking experience pretty much. And just because I'm a better cook, I'm no longer able with my work schedule to do all of the cooking, nor should I. So we had to renegotiate the cooking. And I kind of love how we do dinner now, where we have nights that I cook. And then on those nights that I'm doing the big gourmet meals, maybe it's only 2 nights a week. And I can really throw myself into being creative and all of my culinary skills. But then the rest of the week, I know that if I've had a busy day, that you're not just going to get yourself something, but you will do dinner for the whole family and you're able to do that. But we had to really renegotiate that. It is kind of interesting too, how that like habits are just really hard to break. My habit of being the one who does all the chores and everything was more in my head than it was in your head. When I finally stepped back from that and was like, so I'm not going to be the one that cleans the bathroom all the time, and I'm not going to be the one that's always vacuuming and dusting and doing the general housework, you immediately stepped in, and I realized that you were capable and I didn't have to do it as long as I did.
I just remember the first times that while we were dating and I came over to your place and you weren't happy with the leftover spaghetti, or when it came to making sundaes, you're the one that had to make the ice cream sundaes. And it was just like, it was very much, but I think where we've come to this point, and what I think is so important is I'm a mathematical guy. I'm also into sports and stuff, but it's this balance, right? And if you think about teams, whether you're talking about a relay team where you've got 4 different individuals, you've got basketball teams, football teams, whatever, even places where there's maybe only 2 teammates. The point is you find each other's strengths, but you're still going to have to rely on the other sometimes in other places, right? And so you're constantly just letting this balance do what it's supposed to do. And sometimes some of us may need to pour more into a specific area, even if it's not our specialty area, but it's because we're keeping this partnership balanced as it needs to be balanced. And I think that's where we do so well in our relationship, whether you're talking house chores or cooking or
Vacation
kid stuff
with 5
or whatever.
teenagers.
Yeah, is how do we, each of us is at times, it's not always going to be 50-50, or never are things split male job and female job, but it's always this fluctuating balance of where do I need to step in to make sure that this stays afloat? Where do I step in to make sure that things keep progressing in a forward motion rather than stalling out, because that's not my job.
Okay, I love that so much. And it's just a great way to do a relationship. In my former marriage, it was male roles, female roles. It was he goes out and works and he does the yard work and he maybe takes the kids to sports practice and things like that. But then like he would never consider coming into the kitchen and like making sandwiches for the kids or baking cookies or throwing on Thanksgiving dinner or doing the laundry or anything like that. We were always just very gendered and it didn't balance. That's what was missing in the first 24 years of my life as a Mormon trad wife. I often felt like there was no balance whatsoever. And it is interesting in our home that we aren't always 50-50. There are times when you've had a really long week of work where I feel like I'm doing more of the household responsibilities and taking care of kids and driving and things like that. And then there are times when I have things going on in my life and I feel like you're doing everything. And it's not always 50-50. But I think that what makes it work is that we're both very tuned to one another and we're very attuned to the household in general. You look at the house like it's your responsibility and you're going to jump in and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of and the kids and everything. And I'm looking at it like it's my responsibility. And then we're looking to one another and we kind of come in together like a team. We really are a sports team.
And that visual of a scale, right? The thing is you can't put all of everything on one side because that scale is not going to work, right? But scales can balance out and fluctuate when there's a bunch on one side because of the weight. But if it's just all one or nothing, it's like, oh no, this is all a male role, so we throw that all on one side. It doesn't work that way. This is all female role, so we're going to throw that all on one side. That does not balance.
Yeah, family vacations always killed me. I think that was the time where the balance always kind of unraveled. And again, I had 5 kids under the age of 10 at one point in my life. We raised a huge family, very gendered in the way that we handled things. And we'd go on family vacation, and suddenly everything was over on my side of the scale. All of the packing and getting everything ready and taking care of babies on vacation and figuring all that stuff out. And I always felt like I needed a vacation after the vacation. And that was I think that those were like the worst experiences of my life. So imbalanced because he was there he worked hard. He paid for the vacation. So it's my job to take care of everything. Okay, Kevin says we're not going to wrap this up with his caramel dip, but one thing that I absolutely love about stripping gendered roles completely out of our household responsibilities as a couple is that it does allow us to step into areas where we may have talents outside of traditional gender norms. So, for instance, I had a furniture flipping business, and I was out in my backyard with sander and paint and doing all of this like Bob the Builder type of stuff all day long. And then Kevin would often come home from work and do dinner and homework with the kids and do all of those things that are traditionally female. And I think that because we've stripped these gendered roles, we're then both acquiring skills that kind of branch the whole gamut without any type of gender. Who knew that Kevin was like so creative in the kitchen, and now he's like famous everywhere we go. He has this, what is this?
Caramel dip.
He has this
We'll
fluffy,
we'll just put it there.
fluffy caramel dip, and it's a secret recipe. He will never let me give it to anybody. And he makes this everywhere we go now. Like if we went to a New Year's party, Kevin's making the caramel dip. He did these gifts for his school teachers because he works in a school. And tell me about your Christmas gifts.
It's kind of fun. You have so many staff members that you work with. What can you do to give someone a gift? Made a bunch of the dip, put it in cute little jars, and then wrapped it up with an apple. And
it's a school truth. So like apples, like isn't that the gift you give your teachers? And it was so cute. And I'm still getting texts from people about Kevin's caramel dip. And I'm still getting texts from people about Kevin's caramel dip. Honestly, I appreciate so much when we're going somewhere and I know Kevin's going to go buy the stuff. Kevin's going to whip up his dip. Kevin's going to slice 10 bajillion apples. And I don't have to be in the kitchen like baking something for the potluck. I can focus on things that I need to focus on or put my skills into other areas. So that is the end of our video because we are going to go
finish off the apples.
And now for my favorite part of my channel, and that is hearing from you. If you're in a relationship, how do you structure responsibilities? And if you're in a second relationship, have you had to do a little bit of renegotiating from the life that you lived before? And I would always love the tips from the grandmas, you guys. Keep them rolling in. I am using them in my real life. Thanks for watching. Say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.